Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is December 17th, 2024, and we are getting into the volume 228 of me answering your immigration related questions. As always, before beginning this video, I'm gonna mention, as I mentioned in every video on this channel, I am not an immigration attorney. This is not legal advice. All the information provided in this video on this channel are directly from official government sources like USPS and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. So let's start with the very first question from Damayan Thika Hawita. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name. Hello, I'm from Sri Lanka. Filing date February 2012, F4 category 2020. We receive welcome letter. Awesome, but still can't pay. Yes, so the NVC portal is still closed. Now already 12 years passed. Apply my brother from Vermont Center. It's now in NVC. How long have to wait? Damayan, thank you very much for your question. Really appreciate it. So let's take a look at the visa bulletin, see what's going on. So the brand new visa bulletin for January 2025 is out, has been out for a few days now. It's not active yet, obviously, because we're still not in January, but that's the numbers that we can expect once we are in January. Not expect, that's the numbers that we have for January. So let's take a look. Your NVC portal is still closed. So let's take a look and see what's going on. So we're going to be looking at the graph B, which shows us when the NVC portal is opening up. So from Sri Lanka, all chargeability area, and F4, forced family preference category, we're looking at March 1st, 2008. So people with priority dates back in March 2008, they have their NVC portals. Their NVC portals will be opening up in January 2025, and you are in February 2012. So roughly you have about 4 more years before your NVC portal opens up, before you can make the payment, fill out the immigrant visa application, submit all the affidavit of support, all the documents, all the financial documents. So you still have a little bit of time. Hopefully we will see some good movement on visa bulletin and you don't have to wait that long. But if there's only 1 month of movement every month, which is what it is on average, roughly 4 more years. But again, things might speed up, things might slow down. It's it's hard to tell that far ahead, that far in advance, for sure. All right, let's move on to the next one from Proteins Kidmark. Do you think the visa bulletin for EB3 other workers category would improve? And then another one, same question. Yes, I think it will. The reason why I'm saying yes is because I've just read the news on USPS. That's the only place where either USPS or the Department of State. I don't look for the news anywhere else whenever it comes to immigration related news. And in fact, let me open it up and see and tell you exactly what I've seen. It was for employment based. It was for the visas. It wasn't for immigrant visas. It was non-immigrant visas. There you go. Department of Homeland Security announces countries eligible for H2A and H2B visa programs. All right, so they added some countries, and also Department of Homeland Security and Department of Labor make nearly 65,000 additional H2B visas available for fiscal year 2025. Now again, this is H2B, but with that being said, if they are opening up additional visas in the employment-based categories in general, whether it's non-immigrant or immigrant, I think they both correlate, and you can see that reflect on the visa bulletin itself for the employment-based stuff. So yeah, I think we're gonna see that improve. Okay, let's move on to the next one from SKD P6G. If the I-730 was approved when the child was under 21 and came in USA, but because of some circumstances we need to file the I-130 to adjust their status and they are over 21 now, will CSPA aging out protection can be invoked and the individual may still qualify as a child under immigration law if their CSPA age is under 21? SKT, thank you very much for your question. I don't think it's gonna work out because, well, the reason why I say that is because CSPA really only works when you're already documentarily qualified. That's really when it starts to make sense. But if you're just now starting the whole I-130 process, first of all, you have, depending on the parent status, whether they are a permanent resident or U.S. citizen, obviously you have different amounts of time that you're going to be waiting for a kid who's over 21, for a child who's over 21. So you have that wait time for the backlog of the immigrant visa, because that's now what you're dealing with, because they are no longer in immediate relative category. Obviously you have to you have a certain amount of time that you have to go through the documentary qualification process, the amount of time that you're waiting for the interview. And as far as the CSPA, you can only subtract the amount of time the I-130 petition was pending. And again, depending on which family preference category is going to be. It's going to be either F1 or F2B, which are very similar dates, depending on, again, the status of the parent. That's the amount that you can subtract from the total age on the day of when the immigrant visa becomes available. So you see, it doesn't really leave much options, because on the day that you file the I-130, your son or daughter were already over 21. So unfortunately, no, the CSPA is not really going to be an option that will apply here, unfortunately. All right, let's move on to the next one from SOOOOOOO. Sorry if I'm probably mispronouncing the name. F4 from Philippines. Here, documentarily qualified, July 2022, prior date 06/03/2000. Current for 1 year. Got my interview scheduled last month for December 18, 2024. Nice. Thank you very much, Luzu. Really appreciate it. So for everyone who's from Philippines, there you go. That is a great update. I really appreciate it, and I want to invite everyone from whichever country you're from. If you have been, if you had your interview scheduled, and if you had your interview scheduled wherever you are, please let everyone know which category, your priority date, and how long you have been current, because that is a great estimate for everyone to know. So you see, Philippines, now we know that it's approximately, it seems to be, let's see, so if you have been current for 1 year, and you already got your interview scheduled last month for December 18, 2024, which is actually tomorrow, so good luck with your interview. Looks like Philippines are down to roughly about 1 year. That's great. That's really great news, because the last time I heard an update from someone from Philippines, it was like 2 years they were waiting. So that's great news. All right, let's move on to the next one from user, no name. Can I leave number 18 in care of blank, or should I write none? Yeah, in care of you can put your own name, you can put not applicable, or you can leave it blank. Honestly, I wouldn't risk with anything being blank, just in case, because literally I cannot tell you how many applications I have seen being returned back just because something was left blank. It's dumb. I think they were saying that they're gonna get rid of it. There was a conversation that they're gonna get rid of this rule, that it no longer matters. But again, do you want to risk getting that application back? It's not worth it. You might have just fill it out with something. Put your own name there. Should be good. All right, let's move on to the next one from Noreen CDQ. My priority date is 10/29/2010 from Pakistan. Okay, Noreen, so I'm gonna need to know, in order to give you estimates, I'm gonna need to know which family preference category you're in. That's what I need in order to look at the visa bulletin. So yes, please let me know. I know your priority date. You can comment underneath. I'm gonna leave it not responded, so you can comment underneath and I will come back to that and respond to that. All right, let's move on to the next one from Susie and Georges Jordak. Sorry for mispronouncing the names. Hi, any future changes on COVID vaccine mandates for AOS applicants? I'm still waiting for this mandate to be lifted. It took forever. I know, I haven't checked it in a while. Let's take a look. Let's take a look and see. So that's gonna be form 693 that tells us about the medical examination. I'm pretty sure that's where they tell us about which stuff. No, it's not here. Okay, let's see, medical examination. Ah, there we go. No, it's the same thing. All right. Fine civil surgeon, medical doctor. This, I think it's here. I think it might be here after all. Actually, in the 693, let's take a look. Should be a vaccine, the whole list of all the vaccines. Oh yeah, there you go. So here we go. So part 10 of the I-693, it shows us the vaccine record. And let's see if the COVID is still here. Yeah, there you go. So COVID-19 is still here. And that is edition for March 09, 2023. So no, looks like they have not updated yet. It's still as of March 09, 2023. That's what I would refer to and check. Let's see, effective December 2, 2024. That's a recent update. If you're required to submit form such as the vaccination record, you must submit it with your form I-485. Otherwise, may reject your form I-485. Yeah, okay. So no, unfortunately, no updates yet as far as the COVID vaccine. It's completely ridiculous. I know, it's stupid. It's so stupid on so many levels. It's ridiculous that it requires you to even get the vaccine in order to apply for permanent residence. Honestly, any vaccine, it's my business whether I want to get a vaccine or not. Who's anybody to tell me what I should be injecting into whatever. It's a whole different, then we get into politics. But as far as politics go, like I always mention, if this affects you, if this doesn't affect you, you think it's ridiculous, join in. Send a message to your governor in your state, send a message to your congressmen, the state representatives, whoever, senators, and let them know, because they don't care. They still have that vaccine that they need to sell and get rid of and make money on it. So, they're like, okay, well, we can still push it to immigrants. Why not? Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Musical Crime 3856 C19 Jab. Yeah, there you go. We just were talking about, and that's on I-693 video. Someone showed this to Trump. Well, Trump was the first one in the first place who started this whole vaccine, putting this freaking Dr. Fauci. He's not a freaking doctor. He's a clown. Anyway, let's not get into the politics. Because it's still a requirement on the green card if you want to stay in America. I'm Scottish and my wife is American, living in the UK at the moment, December 16, 2024. And we both never got the shot. Good for you. But we need to move to America beside Sara's parents, as we have a 5-month-old baby boy. Sara can get back into the country, no problems, without getting the shot, but I can't. They say I need to get it. Wow. And if we don't change my son Joshua's nationality over to American, he also is required to get it. But if you pay a lawyer £6,000, they will get you in without getting the shot. Yeah, of course. This is so wrong on many levels. Can any of you help or shed light on this, please? Because we need help on this ASAP. Well, musical crime, you're not the only one. As you can see, literally the person right above, Susie and George, they're waiting. And honestly, rightfully so. I don't want to sound judgmental or, upset anybody, but to me, this is just as much I would be waiting and not getting this vaccine because I don't want to, I don't want to inject something into my body that, I don't want to. But for everyone who's watching, you can bring in advance a report of your vaccination record, all right, to that civil surgeon, whatever. And during that medical examination, you can present that vaccine report showing all the vaccines that have already been done, all right? And they can look at it and say, oh, okay, cool, so you already have these vaccines, cool. And they check mark it based off of that report. I did not know it when I myself went through the medical examination. Back then there was no COVID or COVID vaccine yet, but still, I had to get a whole bunch of vaccines, which I got sick of for like a while. Seriously. Yeah, because they make like 17 vaccinations in a matter of 2 days. It's just ridiculous. It's crazy. It's crazy. But, obviously things got a bit worse with, past couple of years, whatever happened in the past couple of years. So, just to let you know, just for everyone who is concerned with this, you can bring a report, a vaccination report that you can obtain from any other doctor, all right, in your country, and bring it to the civil surgeon and say, look, I have all the vaccines here, you see? So keep that in mind. And as far as on a grand scale, dealing with the politics of all this, yeah, reach out to everyone, senator, congressman. It's, this whole COVID-19, it should have been taken out long time ago, but it's bureaucracy, it's a lot of money, it's, healthcare system is $1 billion industry, so nobody wants to lose their billions. All right, let's move on to the next one from Lolita Ratan. Sorry if I mispronounced the name. Do you also cover Visa Bulletin for nurses? Okay, so whenever it comes to nurses, you're going to be looking at employment-based. I don't talk about the employment-based because most of the times, most of the questions that I get on this channel are family-based, family preference. But employment-based preference categories, they're right underneath the family preference categories. It's exactly the same way to read that stuff. You have graph A, final action dates. You have graph B, dates for filing. Same exact thing. You have a bit more different employment-based preference categories. There's 5 of them, and there's a few subcategories. But it's the same thing. Different chargeability areas for China, India, Mexico, Philippines, and then everybody else is in all chargeability. If you are looking and you see the C, it means the good news. It means it's current, all right? And if you're seeing the date, then it means that's the priority dates that are becoming current as of whichever visa bulletin you're looking at. So it's the same exact way of reading it. I don't cover it in the videos, but if you have any specific question for a specific category, let me know. Let me know your priority date, and I can take a look and let you know. And it's same exact thing. All right, let's move on to the next one from DD24. Thanks, sir. DD24, you're very welcome. Thanks for watching. Again, thanks, sir. You're very welcome. Moving further to Alex Mo. Hi, brother. I have few questions. So I'm doing my I-765 and I want to file them with USPS. And they tell me that I need my physical passport to file it. Or if I want to file it by myself, I can do it with fax. To be honest, that was confusing. What should I do now? Alex Mo, that is really confusing. Because in order to send anything with USPS, they don't need your passport. USPS never requires a passport for shipping anything. And they definitely would not recommend you to fax anything. That's for sure. Especially immigration form, because you cannot fax immigration forms. So either you came across some sketchy USPS or someone who poses as USPS, or you're doing something, you're filling out the form somewhere where something is sketchy. All right. So Alex Mo, follow the links in the video that I provided. Only deal with USAS.gov, and as far as USPS, it's U.S. Postal Service. They don't require a passport in order to ship. So yeah, let me know a little bit more details of what's going on, because it's a little bit weird. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. All right, we got a heart from Kokila Benchout Hari. Thanks for watching. Let's move on to the next one from Kamal Sahota Jot. Sorry for mispronouncing the name. Sir, we submit our document to NVC before the death of our petitioner. Sorry for your loss. But now our petitioner is no more. Please tell me about is NVC give us interview date or not? Okay, so if the process has already went through, the I-130 is already approved because it has been an NVC, if NVC is already documentarily qualified, before the interview can actually be completed, you will have to find someone who's going to be a sponsor substitute, because that's really one of the main criteria whenever it comes to being documentarily qualified, meaning that you are qualified in order to go for an interview for, to get your immigrant visa. And in order for that to happen, you have to have a sponsor, all right? And since your petitioner is no longer with us, you have to find someone who will be willing to serve as a substitute petitioner, which means that they would have to provide the same documents to the NVC and establish that they are basically go through a separate documentary qualification to establish that they have financial capability to serve as the sponsor on the petition. So that's not an easy task most of the times. It's not an easy task to find a substitute petitioner or a joint sponsor or substitute sponsor. So yeah, you definitely need to get on it, because otherwise the petition, it's going to be abandoned and you would have to start it all over again. So yeah, you definitely need to get on it. And hopefully you can find someone who will be willing. It can be really, the good side of it is that it does not necessarily have to be a relative. It can be a relative, of course, but it can be a friend, someone you know very well who will be willing to do that. All right, let's move on to the next one from LED Doya. Sorry for mispronouncing the name. Thank you for such a well explanation for this important document I need to fill out. So helpful. All right, glad it was helpful. Moving further to Lic and Derecho. How much longer will this delay my main application? The fact that it files only by mail already delays it. If I'm a legal resident filing my N400 to citizenship with this, would they consider me an expense for the government if I'm filing in N400? Okay, so that was a comment on I-912, the application for fee waiver. Great question, Lic and Derecho. Thank you very much for the question. That's an excellent question. So no, it's different when you are receiving some kind of public benefits compared to when you are requesting the fee waiver, because a person might, might be in a lower income or experience some kind of financial complications and not receive any kind of public benefits like food stamps, that kind of stuff. So no, if you are filing whatever application you're filing, and in your case N400, because that's where it matters. That's what they look at, whether or not you have been receiving public benefits. It's not necessarily any kind of ground for inadmissibility or you're gonna have issues. No, not at all. It's extra questions during the interview for sure, naturalization interview, but it's not going to be a big deal. But regardless, the 912 does not count as expense for the government, as the public benefit, all right? But to go back to your first question, yes, the fact that you're filing this application now by mail instead of filing it online, it already delays it. It delays it by 2-3 weeks at least, because you're putting it all together as one package. Let's say today you could have completed it online. Today you completed it and put it together as one application package. You mail it 3-4 days, right? It gets there. It sits either in their mail room or it sits in the PO box, wherever you're sending. If you're sending it USPS, it goes to PO box. If you're sending it with courier, it goes to their mail room, to their front desk. But still, before it gets to the desk of the immigration officer reviewing application, takes some time too. You're looking at week, 2 weeks. But the biggest issue might be is with the 912 being approved or not approved. A lot of times we don't send the payment with the application package in hopes that the 912 is approved, right? Because if it is approved, that's it. They don't need the payment. You don't need to send the payment. Technically, that's what you would do normally, all right? But because you're not sending with the payment with the application, if the 912, the fee waiver is rejected, that is whole nother level of additional delays, because now they're shipping it back to you saying, hey, your 912 is rejected, or hey, we are waiting for the payment because your 912 was rejected. On the best case scenario, they don't send back the whole application. They just send you the notice saying your 912 was rejected. We need your payment. All right. So that can cause, now we're talking about a month and a half, 2 months delay for your application. So overall, is it worth it? I think when it comes to naturalization, unless you are in a rush to become naturalized and you need it as soon as possible for whatever, maybe some kind of traveling purposes, maybe. Although honestly, the only advantage of, besides being U.S. citizen, the only advantage really, I guess legalistically, between being a U.S. citizen and being a permanent resident is that as a permanent resident, you cannot vote. As a U.S. citizen, you can vote. Also, of course, there are some government jobs that require you to be U.S. citizen. So yes, if you're in a rush, if the time is more important, and if you still want to take the chance with the 912, then I would recommend sending the whole application package with the 912 at the very top of the application, and then somewhere below the check, just in case if the 912 is rejected, they still have the payment, they process the payment, they tell you, sorry, 912 rejected, we process the payment, that's it, application is accepted, you're not losing any time. But if you're not in a rush, and most of the times really there is no rush to becoming naturalized US citizen, yeah, it's quite a lot of money that you can save. Don't send the payment with it, just send the N400 and I-912 on top of it, and obviously present as much as strong evidence as possible that you actually qualify for the I-912. It's kind of a contradiction, but one of the strongest to corroborate that you qualify for the fee waiver you can present is actually receiving those public benefits that we discussed in the beginning. So if you are receiving food stamps, that's a strong case for you being eligible for the fee waiver. Just be prepared that you're going to have some extra questions during the interview. But again, it's nothing, you know, what's going on. Well, because they're gonna look into your financials anyway. They're gonna look at your tax statements. They're gonna ask you a whole bunch of, you know, it's a long interview. It's quite a long interview, the naturalization interview. So yeah, it's really, you know. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful. Let's move on to the next one, probably our last question for today, from Journey Smith Mola. It's really nice and smooth video. I love it, but I have one question. How about waiver filing application page? Mean how to adjust waiver page qualified application. Thanks. So I'm assuming, Journey Smith Mola, you're referring to the fee waiver that we just talked about, the I-912. Let me know if I'm wrong. Comment in a separate comment. Let me know if that's not the case. But if you're referring to the fee waiver, that's the best thing to do. Obviously you have to, if you're filing the fee waiver, you're filing the application by mail, because you have to send the application package all together. And the fee waiver goes at the very top, all right, so that they don't miss it. So they open up. Because if you put it somewhere, there's a chance, you put it underneath, there's a chance they don't go through the whole thing, and then they're like, oh wait, there's no payment here. So they put it aside and then they send you a notice, we didn't receive the payment. No. They open it up, they see that there's a fee waiver. It means that most likely there is no payment in this application package. So the first thing they need to do is to determine whether or not you qualify for the fee waiver or not. So yeah, if you're sending the application package, whenever it comes to waivers in general, I would recommend putting them at the very top, so that once they open, they already know that you are requesting a waiver for the application. So thank you very much everyone for your questions today. Hopefully my answers were helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, don't post them underneath your comment. Post them as a separate comment. Otherwise YouTube's not gonna send me the notifications. So thank you very much everyone for watching. God bless, and I will see you in the next video.